Hey, this is Kevin Kelly, and you are listening to the Stardom Cast.
This is Jesse from Club Venus from Stardom, and you're watching Stardom Cast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, a podcast where we talk all things about the fantastic, amazing, and spectacular professional wrestling company that is Stardom, and we do it in a positive and what I like to think fun manner. I'm your host for this episode. My name is Matt Turner, and folks, unfortunately, we will not be joined by Rob Goodwin, as Rob texted me about an hour or so before this recording, said he had work stuff that he couldn't get out of and that he absolutely had to take care of. I said, brother, no problem. I will handle this one solo. So, folks, up front, I just want to apologize for any inconvenience this may cause, and I appreciate your understanding as Rob is getting towards the end of the school year, and he's trying to wrap everything up with a nice bow tie or nice bow, regardless. So we'll be doing this one solo, folks. So, again, apologize for any inconvenience this may cause, but it's just going to be your Uncle MT flying this ship solo. But have no fear. Have no fear. There's a lot of fantastic stuff on the Stardom Cast to talk about this week. We have not one, not two, but three shows to review. Three really good shows in front of some packed crowds and some hot crowds. It's nice to see. Nice to see a little turnaround from Stardom. And then we have two shows to preview. The latest chapter in New Blood coming up this Friday that has the New Blood Tag Team Championships as the main event, as well as that jam-packed show, the Conversion show, coming up this Saturday. Yes, an absolutely loaded show with three championship matches this Saturday. So I'm super excited for that. Folks, before we get into everything, I hope everybody's having a great day. We're having a middle of the heat wave here. We're in the middle of a heat wave here in the Northeast. So I hope everybody's keeping cool. I hope you're keeping hydrated, and everybody's just kind of taking it easy and watching some fantastic wrestling with some great wrestling, not only from Stardom, not only from Marigold, but AEW's got some great stuff. WWE's got some great stuff. Pro Wrestling Noah, I know that Go Shizuoka just had his 20th or 25th anniversary match. So really exciting stuff there. So jam-packed, and it's just, hey, whatever you like in the world of professional wrestling. So I hope everybody is enjoying all things that are pro wrestling. Folks, before we get into the news, not really too much news, as we covered, Rob and I covered a lot of the heavy hitting news sections on the Marigold Experience, the Marigold Standard / Experience just the other day. So, but really, just a couple things I want to touch upon before we get into these three shows. Now, we do have some Patreon stuff. Let's talk about what's going on the Patreon. This past week, our alternate commentary, myself and Rob reviewed from Seedling. It was the Seedling Tag Team Champions, the Under the Sea or the Enchantment of the Sea Tag Team Champions, whatever you want to call them. Nanae Takahashi teaming with Arisa Nakajima, taking on the team of Queen's Quest, Momo Watanabe, and Saida. Rob and I just called that match just a few days ago. I've never seen it before. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. It was fantastic. Really good psychology, hard-hitting action, and some really close near falls towards the end. This is a match that I highly recommend that you go and watch. And it's on your Patreon feed, folks. And if you're not part of the Patreon, you get the video for this and so much more for $3 a month. That's less than $1 a week, folks. This is a really, really good stuff. Alternate commentary next week. That'll be dropping early next week in your Patreon feeds. We are staying with some tag team action as the final Micah and Himeka tag match before Himeka rides off in the sunset for her retirement as My Himi team up to take on the ALK sisters of Shuri and Julia and that was the match from Cork and Hall right before Himika's retirement. So I only watched that match once. I'm really looking forward to calling that one back with one Mr. Rob Goodwin. Also on your Patreon feeds, roughly right around the time this episode drops, give or take a handful of hours, the What If. I will be joined by, or I was joined by, the one and only hardest working man in all of Joshi, Scott E. Wrestling, as myself and Scott. We basically do a what if. What if Momo Watanabe walked out of All-Star Grand Queendom defeating Micah and is the new red belt champion, the new World of Stardom champion? How would we fantasy book Momo Watanabe as the World of Stardom champion? So we had some really, really good conversations and some really interesting booking decisions on that. So some really, really fun stuff. And then by Wednesday, Thursday next week, give or take a day or so, I'll be once again joined by my good friend and tag partner, Andy Header, as me and Andy will break down and see what show we like better. Was it night one of the 2021 5-Star Grand Prix, or was it night one of the 2023 5-Star Grand Prix? And there's some really interesting matchups that we pitted in that one. I did take, if you remember, the 2023 5-Star Grand Prix, phenomenal night of wrestling. However, the main event is where Sai Kamitani gets injured, breaks her arm, and is out of action for a handful of months. We did not put that match up against any other match just because of the nature of what happened. I wanted to keep everything in good taste, but there's some really, really hard-hitting, interesting matchups that we have in that one, and it's going to be really fun. I'm going to be recording with Andy early next week, as we were supposed to record this past week. We had a little bit of a snafu, so I think I'm recording with him early next week. So I'm really interested to see what matches he liked better from what show. But regardless, two of the best shows as far as in-ring work goes, quality-wise. So some really good stuff on the Patreon, past, present, and future. And again, folks, if you're not sure if you want to be a part of the Patreon, go to the Stardom Cast website. Rob does a great job updating everything there. Take a look at what we have on the menus. Again, just the back vol of everything we have between what ifs, roundtable discussions, alternate commentaries. There's a lot of retrospectives. There's a lot of really, really good stuff on there that you literally get for pennies a day. When it's a $1 tier up to the $10 tier, we make sure you get more than your money's worth here on the Stardom Cast. So, yeah, that's what's on Patreon and what's going to be coming up in the next 7 to 10 days. So I hope that you all enjoy that. Let's get a little bit of the news, folks. Again, majority of the big heavy-hitting news we covered on the Marigold Standard, but I just want to talk about a lot of Stardom wrestlers wrestling outside of the Stardom ring, which again, it makes sense. You know, Mr. Okada said if it makes sense and the fans want it and the schedule opens up and the wrestlers want to do it, why not do it? You know, why not do it? But we have Momo Watanabe going to Sendai Girls in the middle of July, the 15th of July, taking on Dash. Really looking forward to that match. I've only seen a few of Dash's matches. She's going to work well with Momo Watanabe. Again, it's Momo Watanabe, so she's absolutely terrific. So really looking forward to that match. The 23rd, just this Sunday coming up, Mayu Iwatani will make her next championship defense, IWGP Joshi championship defense against Fujimoto. We've seen Fujimoto part of Best Friends. She got that big win in that tag match against Eye Contact, Mayu and Hanan as part of Best Friends back at Flashing Champion. So really cool to see not only Mayu, you know, basically she's the icon of Stardom. She's the big draw. She's the golden goose. She's probably wrestler of the year, you know, right up there with Sari and Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson, in my opinion, as we're about halfway through this year already. Crazy to say. So it's nice to see that, again, Mr. Okada giving Mayu her blessing to go and wrestle, not only wrestle in the Ice Ribbon ring, but have a match for the IWGP Women's Championship. So I think that's really, really cool. I'm not sure yet how to watch that match. If anybody knows how we can go about it, if there's a VOD streaming service or something, if it's on the YouTube, let me know. I know there's a lot of wrestling fans and really sports fans that they like to pirate stuff, lack of a better term. Obviously, we don't want to do that. We do want to watch this match. We want to, myself and Rob, we want to pay for this match to give the money to, you know, Mayu and Fujimoto and the folks over at Ice Ribbon. We want to, you know, make sure that they're paid. We want to make sure they're paid. So folks, if anybody knows how to go and watch this match from Ice Ribbon, I would love to watch this match. I don't know if I can watch it live on Sunday because of just previous work commitments I have, but I would love to watch it maybe Sunday when I come home or maybe sometime on Monday. So if anybody knows if there's like a link to the pay-per-view or If there's a VOD service we have to subscribe to, please let me know. You guys know how to get a hold of me, Matt Turner OF, on the Instagram and or the Twitter, because I'm really looking forward to that match. And my guess is, because Stardom is sending Mayu over to help Ice Ribbon, my guess is after the match, we're going to, maybe it's my guess, my wishful thinking is we're going to see Nakajima come out and she's going to challenge Mayu for the IWGP Championship. My guess that's going to be in a Stardom ring as part of Arisa Nakajima's retirement tour. Folks, this past week, we had Azumi and Starlight Kid on the All Together show. Unfortunately, I have no idea how to watch this. My guess, fingers crossed, is this going to be uploaded to Stardom World sometime in the next week or so. Stardom World's been doing a great job getting the Ring of Honor matches on there, the AEW matches on there, the Catch the Wave matches on there, the Diana matches on there. They're doing a really great job. I was all about paying for this entire pay-per-view just to watch Azumi and Starlight Kid. From what I understand, this went to a 15-minute time limit draw, and the folks that watched it in the regions they were able to watch it said it was absolutely fantastic. Folks at Azumi and Starlight Kid, you could have given them 5 minutes and it would have been great. However, 15 minutes, these two went to a 15-minute time limit draw. Once it does become available on Stardom World or any other way that I can purchase it, I will definitely watch this match and review it for the Stardom cast. Last but not least, not only is this Saturday the Conversion, I hope I'm doing you proud, Rob, show, but it's also Bloodsport Bushido, which Stardom, Vassar Konami will be a part of. And I have made mention before that I will be covering this show for the Stardom cast. So, or this match for the Stardom cast. So that will be, we'll review that match next week for the Stardom cast. And I might give a mini review of the entire show. So my Friday and Saturday is packed with all sorts of fantastic wrestling between the New Blood show, between the Conversion show, and then the Bloodsport show, because I plan on watching that entire Bloodsport show. We have Moxie and Josh Barnett. Their match a couple years from Bloodsport was fantastic. We have some of my favorite shoot style fighters of all time on this show. Sakuraba's on the show. Minoru Suzuki's on the show. Timothy Thatcher's on the show. Quentin Rampage Jackson is on this show, which I thought is very, very, that's something really cool because Rampage Jackson fits the wrestling mold. You know, he has a character. That Rampage character is something that fits perfect in wrestling. This is kind of his first venture in actual wrestling, and it's a shoot style. So this is going to be really interesting, and hopefully it's something that he does well with, and then he likes, and we see him maybe more on these Bloodsport shows, or maybe he goes to an All Japan or New Japan or a Noah. Rampage Jackson was a huge star, not only in the UFC, but for the Pride Fighting Company back in the early 2000s over in Japan. So again, we shall see how that happens. So, yeah, folks, that I believe is going to wrap it all up for the news and notes segment. Again, really not too much going on. Majority of the news will be myself previewing these two big shows this weekend. So let's get into these three shows to review. First and foremost, big shout out to my main man, Darren Chatton, who did a basically, again, and this was last minute that I realized last minute I'd have to do this show solo, which again is fine. And then I needed some attendance numbers. Rob is usually the one that gets all the attendance numbers. I messaged Darren. I said, hey, man, I need the attendance numbers for these three shows. He said, give me 5 minutes. And it was more like 50 seconds that he was able to get it. So Darren always bails me out when it comes to this attendance for shows. And literally, by the time I hit that send button, when I direct message him on Twitter, it's in 3 or 4 minutes that he gives me the numbers. So thanks again, Darren, for one, helping me out with these numbers like you do, past, present, and probably future, and just being really, really supportive and being a big fan of the show. Greatly appreciate it. Really, really, really helps me out because I'm a big fan of looking at attendance numbers. And I know myself and Darren, I talked to Darren quite a bit. And we were talking about just how some of these shows over the last 2 or 3 weeks, the attendance numbers were really low. And, some of the fans were a little concerned. These 3 shows, they were packed. I didn't see too many empty seats, and the crowds were loud into everything. And it sets up a lot of really good stuff coming up this weekend for the Conversion. So I guess, folks, without any further ado, let's get into these 3 shows. We go to June 9th in Toyama. This show took place in front of a very loud 365 people. Very first match saw Hanan defeating Sayaka Kurora with the Hanan special. I had this match at 3.25 stars. I thought this match was really good. Hanan's booking's been kind of middle of the road since losing to Soriano for that Wonder of Stardom championship back at All-Star Grand Queendom, and that's to be expected. Hanan was booked very strong at the end of last year, then going into the Cinderella tournament, winning the Cinderella tournament, has the match of her career against Soriano, and then we're kind of just hot and cold with Hanan. But again, you can't keep everybody strong all the time. You can't push everybody at the same time because then just nobody gets over. But obviously, Hanan's got two big tag title matches coming up this weekend. Again, we'll get into that when we get into the preview section. Sayaka Kurora, her and Aya Sakura, I love them, the two of them as a tag team. Again, I don't see these two picking up a lot of wins. This was a little bit of a preview for the New Blood tag match, but I would love to see the two as part of the Goddess of Stardom tournament coming up in the fall. They're getting better individually. They're getting better as a team. Just think how much better they're going to get as long as they keep putting them in tag team matches, 5-6 times a month leading up into the Goddess of Stardom tag team championship, or the Goddess of Stardom tournament. So again, and I don't expect them to win 4 or 5 matches. They can win 1 or 2, or maybe don't win any. But these two, considering the fact that they're relative rookies and they're new and they're thrust into wrestling the best of the best in Stardom, are both really good. And Sayaka Kurora was really good here. But regardless, again, 3.25 stars for me. Match number 2, again, a little bit of a preview match we are getting for that main event at New Blood this weekend, was Saida defeating Aya Sakura with the half Boston Crab. Hard-hitting match with the Aya with the kicks and Saya with the chops and forearms. Really simple story to tell. Again, we're kind of just building. And Stardom did a great job on these 3 shows building towards the New Blood Tag Team Championship match, as well as building towards the Red Belt match and the Goddess of Stardom Championship match for this week. And really good planting little bits of seeds and a little bit of previews of what we're going to get this weekend. Again, this was a solid outing, but it does make me want to see more between these 4 wrestlers, which we will get coming up on the New Blood show this Friday, which, by the way, I believe is streamed live and free on their YouTube channel. So kudos to Stardom on that, because I think they've done it before in the past, and they're going to keep on doing it, which I think is really, really smart. So I had this one at 3.25 stars as well. Some really fun stuff. It's obviously always nice to see Saida, especially her doing her new gimmick of throwing her jacket as high up in the air as humanly possible. The next match saw a 4-way match with Ryan, Momokogo, Mei Seira, and Mina Shirakawa that sees Mina Shirakawa hitting the implant DDT onto Ryan for the win. This was really good. Stardom, I make mention, and again, I'm not any of these wrestlers in Stardom. On my best day, I'm nowhere near as good as these ladies on their worst day. Stardom does a great job in these multi-person matches, which can be very difficult. It's one thing if it's a tag, but when you have 3-ways and 4-ways or 3-ways with tag, you have to have all your wrestlers, everybody in their spots they're doing, have to be at the right place at the right time, or else it could be the domino effect and everything else can kind of go wrong. And you have like a really mixing styles here. Mina Shirakawa, she's the new big thing in Stardom. She's got that big match with Toni Storm coming up at Forbidden Door. Obviously, as I'm recording this, it is Wednesday. She's going to be on AEW TV tonight to do the contract signing with Toni Storm. She's somebody that obviously they have big, big plans for because she's being seen in front of an AEW audience, whether it's in front of 4,000 or 5,000 paid fans and then maybe 600, 700,000 people watching on TV. And then she's been doing the interviews and has the backstage vignettes that are on AEW's YouTube. So they're doing a good job getting the Mina Shirakawa brand and the Stardom brand out there. So you have her there. Mei Seira obviously working the high-speed style. Momokogo is basically a hybrid between the technical and the high-speed style. And Rianne, again, is relatively a rookie. But boy, she's blown me away on these 3 shows. I mean, really, the Stardom rookies over the last 2 years between Miyu Amasaki, between Victoria Yuzuki. I understand Yuzuki's over on Marigold, but she did work for the Stardom company for a handful of months. Rani Ugami, huge fan of Hanako, Aya, and Sayaka. I just made mention of them. These Stardom rookies over the last 18, 24 months have really blown me away just how great they are. Here's Rianne, another new rookie. She's doing fantastic work here. Really enjoying her stuff. We had some really fast-paced action between Mei and Momokogo. Again, if we're looking for more wrestlers of the high-speed division, let's get Momokogo in there. Momokogo had a phenomenal, underrated match with Azumi for the high-speed championship 2 years ago. In my opinion, Momo Kogo's best match. And Momo, now it seems like that she's back. She's healthy. She's in the best shape she's ever been, which is saying something because she's always in shape. She's on another level lately. So I love to see Momo Kogo inserted in the high-speed division. Momo Kogo versus Sai Kamatani match would be absolutely fantastic. Again, Rianne's terrific. Mina Shirakawa, she knows who Mina Shirakawa is. Really, really good stuff. I thought this match was terrific, considering you have 4 different styles of wrestling going on here, and everything made sense. Again, 3.5 stars with Mina Shirakawa getting the win. Folks, we go to match number 4. Konami and Sherry, my new favorite tag team in all of wrestling, defeating the Queen's Quest team of Lady C, Miyu Amasaki, when Konami taps out Miyu Amasaki via the triangle lancer. Konami and Sherry in these backstage promos, which kudos to our friends over We Are Stardom Twitter page for a handful of hours after these shows are done. They put up the English translation. Konami and Sherry are no strangers and have made no secret that they want to be next in line to challenge for the Goddess of Stardom championship. They even made mention, we don't care if it's Wingori, Hanan and Saida, or we don't care if it's FWC, Hazuki and Kagama. We want next. We want next. And I would not be shocked that after the tag match is over with this week on the conversion, that we see Shiri coming out to issue a challenge. Obviously, Konami will not be on that show because she is wrestling, fighting the Bloodsport show. So I think that if we get 1 or 2 title challenges after this match, it'll build up towards the pay-per-view we have in July. So it'd be nice to see that seed already planted before people are leaving the stadium or leaving the venue this Saturday. So, really good match, 3.5 stars, really good stuff. Lady C, she's another one that I don't think that we talk about enough. She just absolutely brings it. She maximizes each second she has in their ring. She has great ring presence. Her stuff here with Sherry, where they're going back and forth, and Sherry gives Miyu and Lady C a lot in this match. Sherry is obviously the big main eventer in this match. Former winner of the 5-Star Grand Prix in 2021. She had that year-long reign as World of Stardom champion. In my opinion, the second best run in the history of that belt behind EO's V14. I mean, she just had banger after banger after banger. I believe in 2022, she was named number 1 Pro Wrestling Illustrated as Female Wrestler of the Year. So, I mean, that's something, because usually Pro Wrestling Illustrated, they give it to somebody in back in the day, WCW, WWF, WWE, now AEW. So it was nice to see Sherry getting, how much that Pro Wrestling Illustrated, a huge publication for Pro Wrestling Illustrated, giving Sherry her props and just how fantastic she was that year. Anywho, Sherry gives a lot here to Miyu and Lady C. Ultimately, though, it's Konami. They basically built the finish around Konami, building her up towards her Bloodsport match. So again, 3.5 stars, and I'm really hoping that Shuri does come out and challenges the winner of the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championship match this weekend. Because any way that match goes, Shuri and Konami versus Wingori, or Shuri and Konami versus FWC, I'm all for, and just going to be another phenomenal tag match in what Stardom has been doing this year already, 6 months in. So really good stuff. Match number 5 saw the Cosmic Angel team of Natsupoi, Tam Nakano, and Yuna Mizumori defeating the God's Eye team of Amisori, Saki Kashima, and Rani Yugami when Tam Nakano pins Rani Yugami with the violent shooting. This was another 3.5 stars for me. So you have some really funny comedy stuff at Saki Kashima. Seems like Saki, the last 5 or 6 shows, is back to right around 100%. She seems like she's getting off that foot and that ankle a lot better. So that's always nice to see. Amisori, she was terrific here. I thought that Rani Yugami, I mean, I say this every week and I'm going to continue. She impresses me more and more. And I'm super excited for her match at New Blood this weekend with Tomoka Inaba. Might be out of all these shows that I'm watching this weekend, it might be a top 5 or 6 match that I'm really looking forward to, because Rana, you can tell that she is sitting underneath the Shuri learning tree of how to mix and meld her striking and submissions into pro wrestling, because she's basically coming off like how Shuri did a handful of years ago before she joined Stardom, which is a great thing. I mean, Rana really understands who Rana Yugami needs to be in the ring, and the fact that she's only been doing this less than a year, it's absolutely tremendous. Obviously, Tam and Natsupoi, it's always great seeing meld here together. very much like Aphrodite, Utami Hayashishita and Sai Kamatani, had the Natsupoi and Tam stayed just as a proper team for, year and a half, they would have had an all-time run with the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championships. Obviously, they're probably bigger as single stars, very much like Utami and Sai Kamatani. We made mention before, right before Utami's red belt reign ended, Saya's white belt reign started. So it's really tough to put the two of them together full time when there's more money to be made in singles careers. But when they put them together, it's absolute magic. And the same thing with Tam and Natsupoi. These two are absolutely terrific. Great as a team. Yuna Mizumori, again, in my opinion, the most improved wrestler in all of wrestling for the year 2023. She is terrific here as well. Her stuff with Ami Sohrei, hard hitting back and forth. Really, really good stuff. Again, 3.5 stars. This was one of the better matches from the show for me. Folks, we get to the last two matches, and these two were terrific. Sai Kamatani, Azumi, and Starlight Kid defeating the Oedo Tai team of Momo Watanabe, Natsuko Tora, and Tekla when Azumi pins Tekla via the Azumi Sushi. I had this match at 4 stars. This was terrific. Starlight Kid fits in so well with all of these factions, whether it's Queen's Quest, whether it's God's Eye, whether it's Cosmic Angels, whether it is EXV. And obviously she was part of Stars for X amount of years, and then she was part of Oedo Tai for a handful of years. That just goes to show you what a phenomenal professional wrestler Starlight Kid is. She's just absolutely terrific. She fits in well as a babyface, as a heel, in all these different factions. So again, I get asked almost every other day, where would I like to see Starlight Kid go? Right now, I don't want to see Starlight Kid go anywhere. I want to see her keep doing, 1 week I'm in Queen's Quest, the next week I'm in God's Eye, the next week I'm in EXV, the next week I'm in Stars, because it's shaking everything up and it gives all the matches fresh matchups because she fits in so well everywhere here. So, yeah, I don't know where she's going to land depending on what happens with that, basically the breakup of Oedo Tai or Queen's Quest coming up here this weekend on the conversion. Depending on what happens there, I think we may see maybe a new faction being formed. Obviously, Mei Seira and Suzu Suzuki have been in the company for well over a year full time, and they still don't have a faction. So maybe whatever faction breaks up, we see Starlight Kid go with the Suzu and Mei, and then whatever parts are left to create another new faction, because it seems like that's what the new brass at Stardom are looking to do, kind of create their own thing. So yeah, really good stuff here. Starts out with the Oedo Tai style brawl. We get heat on Azumi. We really don't get to see Azumi on the back foot selling that much because of just her style. Sometimes it doesn't work well with it, but Azumi is such an underrated seller. I thought she was terrific here. On her selling, being on the back foot. Eventually we get the hot tag into Starlight Kid. And the crowd was really hot for Starlight Kid. I mean, really, if they want to push her to be like a Mayu or an Asai Kamatani babyface, it's not going to take much. It's really not going to take much. They can get the machine behind her, the mask, the dolls, everything with Starlight Kid sells really well. Won't take much to make her a top 3 or 4 pure babyface in Stardom because she is just so over here. Really cool spot where Sai Kamatani goes for the springboard planche. Momo Watanabe stops her. They do a great job of building Momo and Saya up, and not only in this match, but all the matches that we're going to talk about. This was another great preview for the basically the final chapter match between Oedo Tai and Queen's Quest. Some really, really good stuff here with all members. Eventually, there's a really fantastic Sai Kamatani does hit the springboard planche to the floor. I love that when it comes to these Stardom tag matches, especially Sai Kamatani. She knows how to work her high spots. Well, she'll tease it early on in the match and it'll get cut off. And then she does it the right place and the right time. And then, brings it back. It's just the psychology, especially the babyface Sai Kamatani, the babyface psychology of Sai Kamatani is really on another level. I don't know if there's too many wrestlers on the planet that really understand that better than Saya. Eventually, though, we get this really hot closing stretch with Tekla and Azumi, with Azumi getting the 3 count on Tekla. Really, since Tekla's come back and turned and went to Oedo Tai, we really don't see her on the defensive. We don't see her vulnerable that much, and that's just really good booking. You want to keep her hot and keep her strong. So, but even though Azumi does get the win here, as soon as the bell rings, we get a big beat down as Oedo Tai is standing tall at the end of this match, even though they didn't get the 3 count. I had this match at 4 stars, and this was my second favorite match of the night. because I like the main event just a little bit more. We go to the main event. We go to the Stars team of Mayu Iwatani, Hazuki, and Kagama defeating the EXV team of Xena, Maika, and Hanako when Mayu pins Hanako with the top rope moonsault after the Freedom style dropkick, rocket launcher dropkick, which I always love. Anytime that they bring that out, it seems like maybe once every 2 months we'll see the Stars trio, or we'll see the Stars team bring that out. I always brings a smile to my face because just whatever members of Stars are launching Mayu, she goes in like 200 miles an hour into her poor opponent. So I like the psychology of this match because Mike and Xena not getting along, building towards their World of Stardom Championship match. And between what we've seen on these 3 shows that I'm reviewing right now, what we've seen on the press conference and backstage comments, I am super hyped for this Xena Micah match. Again, when it was first announced, it was like, okay, this is gonna be a Micah successful title defense, right? I got no problem with that. Where's your big money matches? Where's your Tam? Where's your Sherry? Where's your Hazuki? Where are those matches? Now I'm like, they can wait, because the way that they have built this match and the Goddess tag match for this weekend is absolutely genius. And the fact that how on fire the Stardom booking committee has been from the start of the Cinderella tournament, and there's been some bumps on the road, but up until now, they're doing some phenomenal booking jobs. That's why it's really weird what's going on with that Oedo Tai versus Queen's Quest match. And I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll get into it. But the way that they built up those 2 title matches for this show this weekend has been nothing short of genius. And I like the fact that Micah and Xena aren't getting along. And we see the 2 of them, they basically have a little bit of a fight. They won't tag each other. Ultimately, it leads to their downfall when you're going up against such well-oiled machine as FWC, the tag champs. And then Mayu, Mayu is, again, the golden goose, the icon, the best wrestler, in my opinion, in all of Stardom, maybe the best wrestler in all of wrestling right now. So that's ultimately their downfall. And it does lead into the Freedom dropkick and the moonsault on the Hanako. Really good match, 4 stars for me. Again, folks, if you're pressed for time, the last 3 matches are the matches that I would watch, but definitely watching the last 2, the co-main event of Sai Kamitani, Azumi, and Starlight Kid versus Momo Watanabe, Natsuko Tora, and Tekla, and then the main event of Mayu FWC against Maika, Xena, and Hanako. Folks, we go to the 15th of June in Shizuoka. We have 431 people here. Again, another pretty well-packed house. If you remember, whenever me and Rob the past few weeks, we were talking about how the attendance figures looked a little bit low, but had no fear. Stardom really ramped things up here. They had some great matches, some great booking, moving things forward to the big shows this weekend. And these crowds were really, really hot, which is nice to see, because it always seems like these Stardom crowds, even though there might be 1,500 people, these crowds were on fire. They came to have fun. They came to see some Stardom wrestling. Match number 1 saw the God's Eye team of Konami, Ranyugami, and Ami Sori defeating the Cosmic Angels team of Yuna Mizumori, Aya Sakura, and Sayaka Kurora when Ami pins Aya via the Blue Thunder Bomb. I had this one at 3.5 stars. Again, this was another great showing from all these rookies, basically rookie lights here in Stardom. Ranyugami, Aya, and Sayaka. Great stuff here. Konami, she's terrific. And obviously Yuna Mizumori and Ami Sori, their stuff never gets old. Those, if they put Ami and Yuna in the 5-star Grand Prix, I hope they're in the same block, because I would love to see these 2 slug it out for 10 to 12 minutes, as a single stuff. But then again, Aya and Sayaka, their stuff as a tag team in this match, I thought was second to none. Really good stuff, really good way to start the show. Again, 3.5 stars for me. Now we get into the next 2 matches, and very much like last week's show, they're singles matches that are going to pit the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championship champions FWC against the number 1 contenders Wingori. Again, this is really good booking because it gives us a little bit of a preview of what we're going to have coming up again this weekend. Where we did see last week with Hazuki and Kagama going 2 for 2 against their challengers Wingori. This was the complete opposite, as we did see the Wingori team going 2 for 2, which I like. It basically shows that they can get wins here. In this match here, match number 2, Saida defeating Kagama via the Itabashi. Again, this was really good match. We did have Saida. We've seen her being able to work the high-speed style. We did see at Flashing Champions last month. She was able to keep up with the high-speed champion inside Kamatani and almost shocked her a few times to get a win. Kagama, she's the high-speed genius, former high-speed champion. When Kagama, she does great job with the comedy. And I get it. Sometimes you need that comedy. You need her or Saki Kajima, the beginning of the cards, the middle of the cards to kind of break things up, because then you have the serious business of the Shuri, of the Micah, of the Momo, that stuff. So it's nice to see break it up here. But Kagama here was serious. I mean, she did a few of the comedy spots, but she was really, really on her serious stuff here. Very much like match number 3, which I'll get into in a minute. I wish I had 2 or 3 minutes more. Would have been closer to the 4-star mark. But some really, really good stuff here. Kagama hits a top rope ace crusher and then a running ace crusher. I mean, she's been really on her stuff this year, especially since her and Hazuki have won the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championship. Kagama's always great. When she's serious, she's better. And when she's with Hazuki, she's the best. And this is the best version of Kagama that I have ever seen since I've been watching her in Stardom. Match number 3, again, this is basically a little preview of what we're going to get this weekend with Hazuki taking on Hanan. This was a terrific match. This thing was going 4 to 4.25 stars. Then it kind of just stopped. And I get it. You kind of had to have the flash pinfall. You had Saida getting the flash pinfall in one half of the tag champs the match before. We had it here because these two were wailing into each other. Great technical wrestling to start. And I made mention to you the last week or the week before that Hazuki's been adding these arm drags into her arsenal to basically start her matches and to kind of get a feel of where her opponents is going to be. And I really like that. And then Hazuki gets into full Hazuki mode where she's bumping and she's running the ropes and misdirecting and forearms and pump kicks and then making sure she's bumping all over the place for opponents. And Hazuki. She's just one of the best wrestlers in all of wrestling. But I'm just such a huge fan of her. And I hope that she gets a big, big title win sometime by the end of the year, or gets a major run in the 5-star Grand Prix, very similar to what she had in 2022, because she's just terrific. And this is I made mention it's the best version of Kagama that we've ever seen. This is the best version of Hazuki we've ever seen. Whether it's a high-speed championship match she had with Mei Sarah at the anniversary show, whether it's the singles matches that she's getting, whether it's multi-person matches, or whether it's a tag match. And I made mention about a month or so ago that FWC vs. Crazy Star at the end of the Golden Week Fight Tour is my favorite tag match of the year. 5 stars, one of the best, probably the second or third best tag match I've ever seen in Stardom. And folks, I think I've pretty much seen all the big matches in Stardom. Really good stuff here. These two are terrific together. Again, if this is a preview of what we're getting this Saturday, I can't wait. This is going to be another 4.5 to 5-star tag match that Stardom has in their catalog for this year. Again, some really good stuff, and it looked like Hazuki was getting ready to put Hanan away as they're building towards the finish. Hazuki misses the bombs away senton, and then Hanan catches her with a 17 roll-up. It's just like, oh, this match just got going, and it got clipped away. Again, they're not going to give us everything. They're going to give us little previews, just a little taste as we're going to build towards the championship match coming this weekend. I had 3 3/4 stars. This thing had 3 or 4 more minutes, 3 or 4 more minutes, this thing would have been closer to 4.25 stars. But again, I understand we don't want to give everything away just yet. And I would love to see these two have a proper singles match somewhere down the road, because these two are on their game. They really are. This Stardom roster is just absolutely stacked. It really is. And I'm really excited for what we have coming up, not only this weekend, but going into the 5-star. We go to match number 4. We have a 3-way dance as they're putting poor rookie Rian in these multi-person matches. And again, folks, they are tough to do, especially for someone that's only been wrestling a few months like Rian. Rian versus Mina Shirakawa and Mei Sarah. Mei Sarah is able to pin Rian with the rolling star. I had this at 3.5 stars. Again, you have a contrast in styles with Mina Shirakawa, high-speed style of Mei Sarah, and Rian, who is able to keep up with both Mina and both Mei as far as properly they're building towards their offense. Really good stuff. Didn't go on too long. Everybody was able to get in what they get in. And again, Rihanna is somebody that I'm going to peg for big things next year. I think she's absolutely terrific. Again, only wrestling a handful of months. You can tell she's working hard because her improvement from 6 weeks ago till these shows is really clear and evident, and she's only going to get better. And again, it's going to be interesting to see, easy for me to say. I'm excited, folks. Interesting to see where she's going to end up as far as factions go. We go to the next match of Saki Kashima and Shuri. defeating the team of Mayu Iwatani and Momo Kogo, Peach Thunder, as Shuri taps out Momo Kogo with the grounded Sasaka. Really great stuff here. Again, Shuri really giving in her offense. She makes Momo Kogo look like $1 million here. And Momo Kogo has been on fire as of late. And the fact that you're taking a main eventer, maybe the second best wrestler, all-around wrestler in all of Stardom behind Mayu. Again, subjective, give or take. Kamatani's up there, Momo's up there, Maika, Hazuki. Geez, there's a lot now that I'm naming it off. Anywho, another story for another day. The Saki Kashima comedy stuff never gets old. Again, you have serious Shuri with Saki Kashima. Mayu, she walks that line, whether she's, fun Mayu or she turns into zombie Mayu. We get some really good Shuri versus Mayu stuff. Again, probably second or third favorite match of this year was their match at Stardom Gate for the IWGP Joshi Championship. Excellent stuff with the two of them there. Not enough, though. Obviously, they put a big focus on Momo Kogo. Momo absolutely delivers. And again, she's another wrestler that's on that bottom mid card that I'm so excited to see where she's going to go because she's healthy. She's in the best shape she's ever been. And she's another one very much like a Kagama and Hazuki that we are seeing her best stuff here in the year 2024. 3.5 stars for me. Folks, we go to the co-main event, match number 6, as we have the Work Rate Angels, as our good friend Scotty Wrestling calls them, as we have we have the Wonder of Stardom champion Soriano teaming with Tam Nakano and Natsupoi as they get a win over the EXV team of Maika, Xena, and Hanako. Again, a lot of this match is the falling apart of Maika and Xena. They won't tag each other in. They wind up getting in an argument. They get into a brawl. Hanako is basically the one that kind of has to carry the match for the team because Mike and Xena are more focused on their championship match coming up this Saturday. And that makes sense. Hanako does a good job basically keeping up with all these former champions in Stardom. Obviously Soriano, the white belt champion, Tam, former white belt, goddess champion, artist. Tam's pretty much done it all. And then Natsupoi, former goddess and artist champion as well. So Hanako has only been wrestling a little over a year. They do a great job shining her up in this match because the majority of the focus in this match, at least on the EXP team, is the infighting with Maika and Xena. Again, smart booking. You're trying to sell tickets and pay-per-views towards what is, I'm assuming, going to be the main event of the Convergence this weekend. The Convergence this weekend. So Hanako does a lot of the heavy lifting. She's built up really well in this match here. The Meltier stuff is terrific. The Sayori Poi stuff here is great. The triple teamwork for Cosmic Angels, terrific. Eventually, though, it's Soriano defeating Hanako with the Tom's Tundra. I had this at 3.5 stars. When I was watching this match, I was kind of thinking, Stardom, who have struggled to sell tickets at these Stardom World shows, knocked it out of the park this weekend. Between how great the matches were, the booking, the crowd was into everything. I don't think it would hurt them if they're doing 2 to 3 shows a week to maybe start putting some title matches on some of these shows, whether it's a high-speed championship match, whether it's a new blood tag match, whether it's a future Stardom match. I would also think about, depending on where they're going with EXV, maybe putting the artist belts on Soriano, Tam, and Natsupoi. And then I would maybe have them defend them maybe every other week on these Stardom World shows because you have 3 big stars with Poi, Tam, and Soriano. You're teaming them together. You're putting them in title matches at a KBS Hall, Korakuen Hall, what have you. Some of these shows in Osaka, you can sell 400 or 500 tickets just on that. Again, if it's a Korakuen Hall show, no reason why, and then you put another big match on that show, no reason why you can't be doing well over 1,100, 1,200 people by putting this trio, Tam, Poi, and Soriano, in championship matches, once every other week. And then you can do makeshift teams. If you have stars, you have Queen's Quest, or Wedotai, EXV, you can just keep building things up and they're going to work well with anybody. First of all, the Stardom roster is just jam-packed. And pardon me, it's Soriano, Natsupoi, and Tam Nakano. So you have 3 hits there that are going to be all hits. So I think that would be the smart way to go. Again, solid match here. It was always great seeing Soriano, Tam, and Natsupoi team together because they were on a completely different level. And it makes me wonder, I really miss if they could have really had Stardom. And again, I know sometimes timing don't work out, especially with all the injuries that we had over the last year. really makes me wonder whether Soriano, Tam, and Natsupoi versus Queen's Quest trio of Utami, Saikamatani, and Azumi, what would it look like? That may go down as the greatest goddess match in the history, artist match in the history of this company. I mean, that'd be a heavy hitter, folks, but obviously we did not get that. Maybe that'd just be some fantasy booking that we can kind of have. We go to the main event, folks, of the Oedo Tai team of Natsuko Tora, Momo Watanabe, and Tekla, defeating the Queen's Quest team of Miyu Amasaki, Sai Kamatani, and Lady C, when Momo Watanabe pins Miyu Amasaki with the Inhuman Driver. This was a solid match. I had it at 3 3/4 stars, just furthering the story of what is Oedo Tai versus Queen's Quest. Again, really good booking on the part of Stardom on these shows, building three other four big matches coming up this weekend. Obviously, we couldn't really do much of a build to Soriano and Miko Iwata, with Miko Iwata wrestling for Sendai Girls. It would have been nice to see her maybe do a run-in or maybe put her in a multi-person match. I mean, you don't have Starlight Kid in the faction. How awesome would it be, like a co-main event of Soriano and Natsupoi taking on a team of Starlight Kid and Miko Iwata? I thought that would have been great. I really think Stardom, when they were booking this match, they should have maybe looked at where can we get Miko Iwata in here to build towards it. Very much like Sari. We brought Sari in for the very first night of the Cinderella tournament. Great match with her and Hashimoto versus Saori Poi. And then at the end of the show, Sari basically announces that she wants to wrestle Mayu Iwatani at All-Star Grand Queendom. The dream match, 4 years in the making, was set. I think it would have sold more tickets. It would have built more if they would have booked Sari for 1 or 2 shows building towards that match. This is what I think they could have done with Miko Iwata. If you knew you were going to have that match, you should have said, hey, we need you at least on one of these shows. Even if you had to go do a Sendai Girl show, can we put you on match 1 or match 6 or 7, to kind of get you out of there, but at least build towards this match with Soriano. A little bit of a miss there, but regardless, we're getting a dream match with Miko Iwata versus Soriano. And I believe their first 2 matches that went to a time limit draw, I think they're both available to watch on YouTube on the Sendai Girls YouTube channel. I think I have that saved in my YouTube folder, and hopefully sometime before Saturday, I'll be able to watch those 2 matches. Another really, really great show from Stardom. Folks, we go to the 16th of June, Father's Day. Oh, by the way, happy belated Father's Day to all the dads and granddads out there. I hope everybody enjoyed their Father's Day. This was a live stream, which this is nice. We've seen Stardom doing a great job with these live streams. We know that every single 5-star Grand Prix show is going to be live streamed. So good on Stardom for giving us, the people, what we want. But this was a pretty packed house and loud house in Osaka, 445 people. Very first match, we saw Miyu Amasaki getting a win over Aya Sakura. Aya dominates a good majority of the beginning of this match, only for Miyu to just bomb her at the end with DDTs and then the Tensai. I gave this one the gentleman's 3 stars. I don't think I had enough time to build towards anything, but got the crowd warmed up. Match number 2, another three-way with poor rookie Sarah, Yuna Mizumori, and Rianne have a really high-speed, hard-hitting 3-way, but it's Mei Sarah getting the win over Rianne with that big running dropkick, 3 1/4 stars. We go to the very next match as we see the God's Eye team of Mina Shirakawa teaming with Hanako, defeating the team of Saki Kashima and Rana Yugami. Yes, the God's Eye team of Rana Yugami and Saki Kashima. Again, Rana, she's wrestling 2 wrestlers with Mina and Hanako that work a hard-hitting style. So it's give and take. There's some really good striking exchanges with her and Hanako. Really good stuff for her and Mina Shirakawa. Basically, the end comes with Mina and Saki Kashima going back and forth with quick roll-ups. Saki Kashima goes for the most devastating move in all of wrestling, the Kishikasai. But Mina Shirakawa, the genius that she is, she reverses it into the glamorous collection Mina, scoring her a 3 count. 3 1/4 stars for me. Folks, now this is where the show really picks up. Those first 3 matches were well, and they had, their place in the car, but they were just building towards this fantastic match. Mayu Iwatani and Momokogo Peach Thunder getting the win over Surianu and Saka Kurora, when Mayu pinned Saka Kurora with the frog splash. 3 3/4 stars for me. This was really good stuff here. Soriano came across a big star in this match. I mean, she doesn't take much for her. But the only way that Mayu and Momo were really to break the Wonder of Stardom champion down is with double team stuff, which I thought was really smart booking, the way that they were trying to get her out of the match. You kind of figured going into this match and building towards this match that Sakura wasn't going to be the one to take the fall. But she got her licks in as well. She looked really good. Mayu gave her a lot. Momo Kogo gave her a lot. Momo and Sayaka stuff were really good here. Mayu and Soriano, terrific stuff here. And hopefully we get a singles match somewhere down the line. I know they're in separate blocks in the 5-star Grand Prix, but I would love to see these two have a singles match somewhere down the line. I mean, you can book this in a Corkin Hall for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Let it go 30-minute time limit track. I don't think anybody would say no to seeing Mayu Soriano wrestle for 30 minutes. And that would be a big feather in the cap of Soriano and the Wonder of Stardom Championship if her and Mayu go 30 minutes and the Icon of Stardom cannot defeat her. Even though it's a draw, I think that would build Soriano up even more. But again, that's just me. The Cosmic Angel duo do stereo missile drop kicks. Mayu hits a super kick, and Momo Watanabe hits a 180 body press on 2 count onto Sayaka Kurora. Eventually, Mayu comes in. We see some more Peach Thunder teamwork that eventually leads to Mayu's top rope frog splash. Again, 3 3/4 stars. Folks, we go to match number 5 as the all-masked team of Tam Nakano, Natsupoi, and Starlight Kid defeating the God's Eye team of Shuri, Amisori, and Kunami. When this is a great, I mean, again, this is why Meltier is so good as a team. Why Tim and Natsupoi are so good as a team. Amisori goes to put Natsupoi away with the like a thunderbolt, getting ready to drop the murder pixie right on top of her head. Tam Nakano coming in for the save, hitting the super kick on Amisori, which opens up the window for Natsupoi to hit the Fairy Blink onto the finalist of this year's Cinderella tournament for the 3 count. I had this at 4 stars. This was great. Tam Nakano has made mention that if she can get Starlight Kid drafted over to, not drafted, but if she was to join Cosmic Angels, that Tam would wear a mask forever. Natsupoi said, hey, if Tam's going to do it, I'm going to do it. Natsupoi's mask was hilarious because she had the Baipoi. She had the Baipoi symbols basically kind of sticking out of her mask. It reminded me of like the Curryman mask where like you had stuff like coming off it, which I thought was really cool. Tam's mask, of course, looked like it was bedazzled. Really fun stuff here. I don't think Starlight Kid's going to join Cosmic Angels, despite the commitment that Meltier has for trying to recruit her over there. God bless him for doing the mask gimmick. But at the same time, you can literally sell replicas of this mask, $100, $150. You make 50, 60 of these Natsupoi Tam masks. You can sell 100 of these easy at just about every show, and they're gonna sell. Again, $100, $150. Folks, we've seen these the Stardom merchandise flying off the shelves, especially when it comes to the Cosmic Angels and Queen's Quest teams. They're selling tons of merchandise. And you do a Tam Nakano mask that she's only worn once or twice, and a Natsupoi mask that she's only worn once or twice. I think that's easy money. And I don't mean the former ECW wrestler, easy money. I'm a big fan of. And a very nice guy. I've been on shows with him before. Anywho, this was great. 4 stars for me. Shuri and Tam, their stuff is terrific. Konami, she's great here as well. Start the match, we get some Cosmic Angels triple team. Konami and Shuri hit stereo kicks to Meltier. Again, some really good stuff with Shuri and Konami as a team. I would love to see them, whether it's for a title match or not. I would love to see a straight up Shuri and Konami versus Meltier match because the stuff that we got here was really next level tag stuff. Ami chops poor Natsupoi. And that's not enough. Shuri decides she wants to get on the beating of the murder pixie. So Shuri hits those brutal kicks to Natsupoi, which we've seen about 24 times over the last 2 years, and nobody sells the insane kicks of Shuri like Natsupoi. Starlight Kid hits a standing moonsault to Konami for a 2 count. Tam and Shuri have a kick exchange. We get a violent shooting on the Amisori. Natsupoi hits a head cross body on the Amisori for a 2 count. Natsupoi locking in an armbar. We've seen Natsupoi teasing going to the armbar a little bit in last year's 5-star Grand Prix, and it looks like that she's brought it back. That's another wrinkle in the game that is won by Poi. Natsupoi locks in a Black Widow onto Amisori. Eventually, Ami's able to use her power and getting basically just deadlifts, squatting up Natsupoi into the torture rack. We get a triple God's Eye submission. I'm always a big fan of those. Natsupoi with a brutal basement dropkick to Amisori. We get another kick sandwich from Konami and Shuri to Natsupoi. Ami goes back to the torture rack onto Natsupoi. Starlight Kid eventually is able to clean house. She has a huge dive to the floor. She got some Michael Jordan hang time on this dive, did one Starlight Kid. I thought that was great. And then we get back into the ring with some really good stuff with Ami, Sori, and Natsupoi. And eventually that leads to Tam helping Natsupoi out with the super kick into the Ferial Blink from Natsupoi to Ami, Sori. 4 stars. This was fantastic. Probably my favorite match of these 3 shows. I thought some really, really good stuff here that we had from these 2 teams. Again, Starlight Kid fits in well with so many different factions. It's going to be interesting to see where she goes. There really is no wrong answer, but I would not be shocked if at the end of the Queen's Quest in a Oedo Tai final match, supposedly final match, that after the match we're going to see Starlight Kid come out and offer services to go to one of those factions or one of the factions that might be makeshift made up. I wouldn't be shocked if Suzu Suzuki is in the house and we see some crazy star stuff, whether they're challenging for the tag belts or whether they declare they're going to be going to one of these factions that are going to be needing help. So it's going to be really interesting to see. We're going to get a big shakeup. And I know earlier this morning, our friends over the We Are Stardom Twitter page, they threw up like a flyer for the show and basically the link to the tickets and whatnot and the times that everything's going to be running. They did make mention that when this show is over, nothing will be the same for Stardom, which I'm both excited and a little bit scared for, folks. A little bit scared for. Folks, we go to match number 6. I believe this is, as I'm looking at my notes, the co-main event of this show, as we have Azumi, Lady C, and Sai Kamatani defeating the Oedo Tai team of Momo Watanabe, Natsuko Tora, and Tekla. When Momo Watanabe just beats up her former tag partner in Azumi with a baseball bat, causing a disqualification. I did not rank this match just because of the DQ finish. It was a really solid match. Again, Lady C, one of my favorite basically underrated wrestlers in all of wrestling. I think she's terrific. Azumi and Sai Kamatani, if you heard me, if you've been listening to me on this show, you know how much of a huge fan I am of both ladies and Queen's Quest. Tekla, Momo, and Tora, their stuff is really good. We get some solid Momo versus Sai Kamatani stuff to start this match. Again, that really seems to where the crux of, basically the main heat, where the money is on this match coming up on Saturday. Really phenomenal tag work with Azumi and Sai Kamatani. You forget how great these two are as a team. Obviously, Azumi with Miyu Amasaki with O2 Line doing some next level stuff. Sai Kamatani, her bread and butter when it comes to tag team wrestling is with Utami Hayashishita. Obviously, Utami and Marigold having that big match with Io Shirai coming up in a month's time. Yes, thank you very much. Her stuff here with Azumi is great. And I remember the match they had with Meltier. I think it was last year. I have to go look it up. I think it was in summer 2023 with Azumi and Natsupoi from like a random Stardom World show. I think it was like a 15 or 20 minute time limit. It was absolutely amazing. Maybe myself and Andy will have to do that tag team breakdown sometime in the next few months. But their stuff was terrific. Momo and Tora, they're just brutalizing Lady C and Azumi in this match. Again, more heat to Azumi. Azumi comes back with the Fujiwara armbar onto Momo Watanabe. Momo comes back with the Samato for a 2 count onto Azumi. Momo locks Azumi into a crossface chicken wing, and then she tries to transition into a B driver. Sai Kamatani comes in for the save, basically pump kicking Momo Watanabe in the face when she has Azumi up for the B driver, basically doing a makeshift co-red. Azumi comes back with a La Mystica onto Momo Watanabe. Sai Kamatani keeps everybody at bay with the springboard plancha to the floor. We get the Oedo Tai brawl towards the end of this match, which I thought was something different, something cool. I thought that usually we get the Oedo Tai brawl in the beginning of this match, but we got it towards the end. Eventually, Momo snaps, hits the referee, beats up Azumi with the baseball bat, causing a DQ. Again, no rating here. Really good match, really good stuff. And I said because of the abrupt finish, but this is building towards what we're going to see, this Saturday. And it's really weird because usually we saw it with the New Blood, with Hanan and Saida and Hazuki and Kagama, how basically they had 4 singles matches and went 2-2. Where with these matches with Queen's Quest and Oedo Tai, not only these 3 shows, but like the previous shows, even the matches that Queen's Quest won, they get beat up after the bell. And there's a lot of heat. It's almost like a 5-1 advantage, like with the Oedo Tai winning 5 matches to like one of Queen's Quest. And even the matches Queen's Quest wins, they're getting beat up afterwards. So they're just beating up Queen's Quest. And that wouldn't make sense for them to beat up Queen's Quest all this much they've been doing over the last 2 or 3 weeks, only to disband Queen's Quest. Because in my opinion, you're just burying them and then sending them packing. To me, that wouldn't make sense. And there's a post-match promo afterwards where Izumi is just getting beat up by Momo Watanabe. Usually the post-match promo, they're talking, Momo Watanabe, I'm going to break up Queen's Quest, or Izumi and Saya, we're going to get you, Momo. It's just more beatdown of a Oedo Tai on Queen's Quest. So, again, I'll get into that in my preview because I have a lot to say about that match. We go to the main event of this show. We did see the team of Xena, Hana, and Saida defeating the championships team of Maika, World of Stardom champion, teaming up with the Goddess of Stardom tag team champions, FWC, Hazuki, and Kagama. Really good stuff here. Again, we did get a very much like these 3 shows where we got a little bit of a preview of Hazuki and Kagama doing some teamwork stuff onto Wingori. Again, a little bit of a preview of what we're going to get coming up this weekend. The Maika Xena stuff was next level here. Just the hard hitting, the chops, the forearms, the Maika with suplex, Xena, ducking lariats and then getting hit with lariats. This stuff was really good. Again, we got a little bit of a tease. We're getting in that tag match. We got sprinkled in quite a bit over these last 5 or 6 shows. And to be honest with you, that's the match I'm looking forward to the most this entire weekend, including all the blood sports stuff. That FWC versus Wingori match. That is, again, the match I'm looking forward to the most. FWC hits their double dive. I love that. When Hazuki goes through the second and third on the suicide dive and Kagama launches herself off the middle turnbuckle onto the floor. That's so impressive, their timing. We get Maika with the Enka Toshi to Xena, and then Maika going for the Michinoku driver, but Xena trips Maika up and then basically is able to put Maika in almost in like a makeshift ankle lock and then rolls her through with this really impressive pinning combination that by the time Xena rolls through, she has Maika pinned down for the 3 count. Shocking to see Maika eat a pinfall here. I believe other than Momo pinning Maika in the first fall of their match of All-Star Grand Queendom, I think this is the first clean loss that Maika has all year. I think Momo has pinned her in a tag match leading up to their match All-Star Grand Queendom. But that was a whole bunch of, chicanery, baseball bats and mist and lead pipes. So you have Maika, who really hasn't eaten many losses in the last 7-8 months. Eating a fall here to Xena, clean in the middle of the ring, and this is the last match and the last image that we will see before we get to the Conversions pay-per-view. I know we have a New Blood show, but as far as like Stardom proper, I think that's genius booking. Because now they're going to use this cradle that Xena did. Unbelievable. And Xena, in my opinion, is the clear front runner for most improved wrestler of the year in all of wrestling in 2024. She's fantastic. Her timing, her pacing, so much better than it was a year ago. And it was pretty good last year. The hard hitting, the chops, the feeding, the basically taking the big bumps to make her opponents look better than they already do. I think it's great. And I'm really, really excited for this World of Stardom Championship match. I think Mike is going to get the win here, but I think this is going to be next level stuff. I wouldn't be shocked if when me and Rob review this show that we say this is the best this is the best Xena match that we've ever seen Xena have. I thought this is really, really good stuff. Again, that pinning combination she had was super impressive. And again, genius booking on Stardom for having this match, your preview of your 2 of your 3 big title matches this weekend, your last match going into the pay-per-view. Again, Maika teaming with basically Fukuoka Triple Crazy. She's competing up against, against her tag partner or stablemate in EXP, but you have the 3 wrestlers from Fukuoka Triple Crazy, which was cool. And again, this is cool. This isn't a permanent team, but it makes sense why we're teaming them up, right? You have the World of Stardom champion and the Goddess champion going up against your number 1 contenders a week before the pay-per-view. And it's cool to see them shaking up, again, not in a permanent way, but the different factions. Because when are we going to see Maika, Kagama, and Hazuki team up again? Maybe 2 weeks? Maybe 2 years. I don't know, but I thought it was really, really cool. And when are we going to see Xena teaming up with Wingori? Maybe 2 weeks, maybe 2 years. That was really, really cool. Again, solid match. Love the outcome because they're going to tease that trip up pinfall finish at the Conversion this weekend, and we're all going to bite on it. We're all going to bite on it. Folks, before we preview these two shows, we have massive Io and Kyrie watch. Because last week, folks, again, I was in Dallas, Texas, and was not able to watch Io's match with Lila Valkyria from the 10th of June. We're going to review it now because this was fantastic. This was really, really good stuff. Very much like their Queen of the Ring semifinals match. This match starts off with some high-paced action. Lyra Valkyria hits this beautiful Northern Light suplex. Io comes back with a stiff slap. Lila locks in the pendulum swing. I thought was really cool. Eventually, Io hits a drop kick, sending Lila to the outside. Io hits the picture-perfect Ase moonsault to the floor. Back in the ring, we get a strike back and forth with Lila Valkyria getting the better of the exchange with this beautiful kick combination. Io eventually gets back up on Lila, is able to hit the Meteora, goes for the moonsault but misses. Lila rolls up Io for a 2 count. Io is able to come back with a Casadora double stomp and prong hold into the double stomp, which I thought was good. Io then goes to the top rope for the moonsault. However, when she gets to the top rope, Valkyria is able to hit a kick to the head of Io, setting her up picture perfect for the Nightwing, which is basically her sit-out DVD. Again, I know this is the Stardom Cast podcast. Think of Kigetsu, her finisher. She hits the Nightwing. However, the ref is too busy looking at Io's shoulders and does not see Dakota Kai go into the ring and pull Lila's hair, breaking up the pinfall. Great job. The ref did not see disqualification. I got no problem with that. He's doing his job looking at Io's shoulders. I like those little details. Io hits the turnbuckle Meteora. Lyra is able to get up the knees onto the moonsault. Io just can't hit this moonsault. Lyra tries for the Nightwing once again, but when she does, Io pulls on Lyra's hair and then is able to hit a crucifix pin for the 3 count. The crucifix pin is able to hold Lyra Valkyria down for the 3 count, having Io getting a little measure of revenge for the Queen of the Ring semifinals match. This match was great. I liked their Queen of the Ring match just a little bit better. This still was terrific. I've seen a handful of these Valkyria matches in NXT and a little bit on the main roster. Her chemistry with Io Shirai is fantastic. I mean, Io is putting in a worker of the year as far as WWE goes. I think she's the best in-ring performer in WWE this year. And I'm not just saying that because I do a Stardom podcast and I'm just a huge fan of hers. She's just terrific. After the match, we get a 3-on-1 beatdown with Io, Kyrie, and Dakota Kai beating down Lila Valkyria. Eventually, Carter and Chance come in for the save, and that'll set up our tag match for next week with Io and Dakota Kai taking on the former tag team champions of Carter and Chance. And folks, guess what? Next week was actually just 2 days ago. So we will get into a whole bunch of Io and Kyrie watch that we have that took place on Monday Night Raw. Oh, and before Raw last week went off air, Io was flipping out in the backstage segment saying damage control has to change. Folks, we go to the 17th of June, which is not only Kirsty's birthday, Rob's girlfriend Kirsty, but also my sister's birthday. So I hope you ladies had a fantastic birthday. Well, I know my sister did because I talked to her that day. We go to a Money in the Bank qualifying match as Io Shirai taking on Zelina Vega, taking on Kiana James. We get some quick few near falls to start off the match. Io hits a quick drop kick. Io goes for an Ase moonsault and hits it to the floor. Zelina Vega comes off the apron with an apron Meteora to Io, who just hit the Ase moonsault to Kiana James. I thought that was a really cool 1-2 combination of moves. Io doing the moonsault to James, and then by the time she gets up, does the pop for the sell. She turns around and Vega hits the running Meteor off the apron. I thought that was really cool. We go to commercial break, come back from commercial break, the Tower of Doom spot. You can tell that they're right out the gate. You can tell these ladies know they're not getting 15, 16 minutes, but they're maximizing their minutes because as soon as the bell rings, especially those outside spots, they're just go. Tower of Doom spot, Io with the Showtime palm strike. We get some double team work on the Io Shirai. It really seems like Kiana James and Zelina Vega, they realize about 3/4 through this match that Io won the Money in the Bank last year. They're trying to get her out, not to win at all. Io hits a springboard missile dropkick. Zelina Vega stops the moonsault with the 619. That was really cool. Really cool. Io's going to the moonsault, hit the moonsault onto James, but as she goes to as she's climbing the rope, Zelina Vega, it knocks her off with the 619. I thought that was cool. Follows up with the code red for 2. Eventually, Io hits the Meteora onto Kiana James and follows up with the moonsault for the 3 count, having Io Shirai qualifying for Money in the Bank. Can she be the first wrestler since my trainer, CM Punk, and go back-to-back on Money in the Bank? We shall see. Folks, we go to our next segment. And again, big thanks to Darren Chatton, he basically laid out when all these segments were on Monday Night Raw. So I know when I was fast-forwarding through my DVR, I knew when to stop. So you're the MVP of the show, brother. Thanks, Darren. Appreciate you. We go to Kyrie and Dakota Kai going up against the tag team of Chance and Carter. Again, this was set up last week. Dakota and Kyrie do their best Oedo impression, and they jump the former champions. We get some fantastic teamwork from Carter and Chance. These two were great, and they had 2 great, really, really good tag team matches against Kyrie and Asuka back when Kyrie and Asuka first won the women's tag team championships, because I'm a huge fan of Carter and Chance. Dakota hits a head kick that sets up Kyrie to hit the insane elbow like 2 minutes into this match. I'm like, oh boy, we're probably not having too much time here. That scores a 2 count. We get some heat on the Chance. Lila Valkyria comes in, and she distracts Dakota Kai. That leads to the neckbreaker 450 combination, which they call the after party on Dakota Kai for the 3 count. This thing went like 4 minutes. Did not get much time, and I could kind of figure that out when Kyrie's hitting the insane elbow like 2 minutes into the match. It really seemed like, I don't know if this was planned to go 4 minutes or some of this. I know Seth Rollins had a segment. Drew McIntyre had a segment. I know those segments went too long, and this match kind of just got cut. That's what happens from time to time. I have friends of mine that have worked for WWE and AEW, and they tell me sometimes it happens. Sometimes people go over their segment, and hey, it's the nature of the beast when you go on live TV. So very short match. Again, I don't have this time, but I don't think this went more than 5 minutes, even maybe 4.5. I would love to see them run it back, because these 4 wrestlers are great. And Carter and Chance, again, as a tag team, they're really next level. Backstage, we have Io. She's flipping out once again, and she says, damage control must change. And if you two don't change, I will change for you. So I don't know where she's going with this. We may see some breakup of damage control. If we do see it, hopefully it leads to an Io versus Kyrie match, because we never got a proper one on the main roster. We did get a singles 4-way at NXT Brooklyn with Io, Kyrie, Shayna Baszler, and Bianca Belair, when Bianca was only wrestling maybe a little over a year. So, and that was a really great 4-way. I was at that NXT Brooklyn, and Io and Kyrie, one-on-one match somewhere down the line. Yes, please. Yes, please. All right, folks, we are going to get into our last segment of the show. We are going to be reviewing, and I'm going to be giving my predictions for these 2 shows this weekend. Folks, first and foremost, we have New Blood, and there's only 5 matches on this New Blood show. So, and they're all matches I'm really looking forward to. Again, this is going to be live and free on the Stardom YouTube channel. So if you don't have Stardom World, first of all, what are you doing? It's like $7 a month. What are you doing? But regardless, this is going to be a really good show. May Sarah, and I'm just going by the order here that was given to me. Whether they change this up a little bit, I don't know. But May Sarah versus Rian. Again, I'm a big fan of what Rian's doing. I think in 3 or 4 months, she'll fit the high-speed style really well. This is a good way to start the show, to kind of get everybody hooked in. I think this is going to be a high-speed style match, but I see May Sarah getting the win here. Match number 2, again, folks, between Bloodsport, between the Stardom pay-per-view and this show. There's a lot of wrestling to watch. This might be top 5 or 6 matches I'm looking forward to this weekend. It's Tomoka Inaba coming back to Stardom, taking on Ryan Yagami. This is going to be hard-hitting. This is going to be fast-paced. This is going to be exactly what I love in wrestling. I think Tomoka Inaba is going to get the win here. I think they have big plans for Tomoka Inaba this weekend, considering the fact that she's wrestling Micah in like less than a month's time at the JTO anniversary show in Cork and Hall. I think she gets a win here, but this is the perfect way to highlight not only her, but Ron and Yagami. Again, I sing Rana's praises every week on this show. This more than likely will be Ron Yagami's best match she's ever had. Again, I know she's only wrestling 7-8 months, But going to be great to see Tomoka Inaba in a Stardom ring again. And folks, I know we have a lot of new listeners to the show. Welcome. I know we have a lot of new watchers to Stardom. Welcome. Go and watch Tomoka Inaba versus Hanan for the Future Stardom Championship match. And if you're on Patreon, I've done a complete review of Hanan's Future of Stardom Championship run. It's in the vault. It's one of the best Future Stardom matches that championship division has ever had. One of the best Tomoka matches and one of the best Hanan matches. Considering how great Hanan's been over the last 2 years, it might be a top 3 or 4 Hanan match. Tomoka Inaba's fantastic. Her and Azusa are both on the shows the next day. Hopefully that they are offered a contract this weekend. Love to see them in Stardom more on a full-time basis. Match number 3 has Hanako taking on Ice Ribbon Saran. I've never seen Saran before. I'm interested to see that what she's going to do. You have this entire crop of new blood wrestlers that Stardom could pick from. There's a reason why they picked Saran. Hanako is ever impressing, but I do have Hanako taking the win here. We go on to, again, what I believe is the co-main event of this show as Rina teaming up with Azusa Inaba. Again, Tomoka's sister. We've seen Azusa team up with the Wedo Tai quite a bit. I think she fits in well with the Wedo Tai. Again, depending on what's this weekend. Taking on the team of Queen's Quest team of Miyu Amasaki and Hina. The Hina-Rina thing will never get old to me. Hina is ever improving. Between her look, her timing, what she's doing in the offense, adding more submissions into her judo game. So Hina and Rina always work well together. Miyu Amasaki's on a tear, and Azusa Inaba's terrific. So really looking forward to this match. This should be a banger of a match. But I'm going to say the team of Rina and Azusa Inaba get the win here. I'd like to see both Inaba sisters picking up wins here. We go to the main event of this show, which I'm assuming should be the main event of the show. New Blood Tag Team Championships of Saya Iida and Hanan taking on the Cosmic Angels team of Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora. Aya and Sayaka don't have too many or any wins as a tag team. It would be nice to see them maybe get 1 or 2 on the road to this match, but regardless, really looking forward to this match. I think this one will be an absolute banger. Hanan and Saya Iida, I think after this weekend, we will probably put into the conversation of the best tag team in wrestling because they've had some bangers with these New Blood Championship defenses. Obviously, Hanan wins the Cinderella tournament. We're focusing on Hanan as a single. She loses the next month to Saori Anou in her challenge in a phenomenal match. But I'm glad we're putting Hanan and Saya Iida, back together for at least this run to heat Hanan back up in the tag division with Saya Iida because I think Wingori is fantastic as a team. And I do see Wingori having a successful title defense. Folks, we get to the last part of the show and apologize to all the listeners that love these 2-hour shows because this one looks like it's going to go maybe 90 minutes. Again, I know when me and Rob recorded when we recorded for the Marigold Standard just the other day, we realized that the main show is probably going to be about 2.5 hours with me and him bouncing everything off each other. Again, when it's solo, nobody to bounce anything off. But again, I still think we got some great content here. So for everybody that wants this one to go 2 hours, probably next week you'll get the 2-hour show. We go to, I believe, the very first match. My guess is this is going to be on the YouTube. Rion versus Fukian Death with the Okada roll. You know how that's going to go. And then I tell you what, we are off and running on the show. Again, this is the order of the card that was given to me. This could change. It could change in an hour. It could change the day up. But we do have the Cosmic Angels team with Tam Nakano, Sayaka Kurora, and Aya Sakura taking on the team of Saki Kashima, Tomoka Inaba, and Rana Yugami. So you have Tomoka and Rana who are probably going to kick each other into next week. The night before are teaming with the comedic styles that is Saki Kashima taking on the team of Tam Nakano, one of the best wrestlers and the biggest merch movers and ticket sellers in the company, against the one of my favorite underneath teams in all of Stardom, Aya and Sayaka Kurora. My guess is Tomoka Inaba gets a win here, and I will explain why after the main event. We go to the next match, Mina Shirakawa teaming with Hanako, taking on the team of Natsupoi and Yuna Mizumori. Yuna, Hanako, Mina, Natsupoi, all heavy hitters here. This is going to be a fantastic match that kind of get lost in the shuffle on this card. I fully expect Mina Shirakawa to pin Yuna Mizumori in this match because we're building Mina up towards her AEW championship match at Forbidden Door the very next week. But this is going to be hard-hitting. Obviously, Hanako and Yuna Mizumori on the Stardom World shows, they do really well together. Mina and Natsupoi have fantastic chemistry. And if you don't believe me, so go back and watch their Wonder of Stardom championship match from May of last year. They beat the bejesus out of each other and have a great match. Speaking of great match, another match that may steal this entire show, high-speed style match. Pardon me, of two former high-speed champions, Starlight Kid and May Sarah. This can go either way. This is a tough one for me to predict, but with Starlight Kid kind of being the prettiest girl at the dance, every faction wants Starlight Kid to go there. Again, how bad does that make a Oedo Tai look? You kick Starlight Kid out, and now it's just like every faction wants her. And they're literally, Mayu's like, I forgive you, come back to Stars. Tam's like, I will put a mask on. Come to Cosmic Angel. So that just it doesn't make Oedo Tai look good, which is, I'll get into this final chapter match. I'm going to say Starlight Kid gets a win here, but I would not be shocked if I am wrong. We go to Peach Rock, Mayu Iwatani, and Momo Kogo taking on the God's Eye team of Shuri and Ami Sori. Again, my guess, this is supposed to be Konami in this match to build up Shuri and Konami for that Goddess match coming up. But again, Konami is on the Bloodsport show the same day. I'm going to say this is going to be a Shuri win over Momo Kogo to build Shuri up more towards the Goddess match. But I can see Mayu getting a win here over Ami Sori, or even Ami getting a win over Momo Kogo. I just don't see Mayu or Shuri eating a fall here. So you can go either way, but I see Shuri pinning or submitting Momo Kogo. And then, folks, we get into the heavy hitters, these last four matches. The final chapter. Queen's Quest, Sai Kamatani, Azumi, Miyu Amasaki, Lady C, and Hina taking on a Oedo Tai of Natsuko Tora, Momo Watanabe, Tekla, Ruaka, and Rian. Okay, this is where I definitely want to Rob on the podcast because there's a lot of stuff me and him have been bouncing off each other via text message when I was away last week. It's no secret that I am a massive fan of Queen's Quest. A huge fan of, obviously, Saya, Azumi. And now the rules are whatever member is left, the other four members have to leave. So say Saya Kamatani is the last one standing for her team and then she gets pinned. She stays with Queen's Quest, but the other four members have to leave. So the rumors that we have been heard that have been thrown around, which to me makes no sense, considering the fact how great the booking has been in the last 3 months and how great the booking has leading up to this show for the other championship matches. The rumors we heard is that Sai Kamatani is going to turn heel and eventually disband Queen's Quest, which then leads to believe me, and this is my official prediction, which I'm hoping I'm wrong, which leads me to believe Sai Kamatani is going to be the last person standing. Maybe she turns on Azumi, hits the Star Crusher on Azumi, allowing Momo to get the pinfall onto Azumi, and then she lays down very much like the finger point of doom. For those of you who remember that in WCW, lays down for Momo, and then Sai Kamatani, I guess, is technically still part of Queen's Quest, but then she would disband towards a Oedo Tai, basically then forcing Azumi, Lady C, Miyu, and Hanan to leave Queen's Quest. Thus, no more Queen's Quest. That's, again, my official prediction, which makes no sense whatsoever. Again, it's kind of hinted towards us. That's the way they're going. And I've seen a lot of people kind of agree what they're doing. Makes no sense considering the fact of all these promos that Sai has been doing. Makes no sense considering the fact they have a whole new line of merchandise for Sai Kamatani to come out with, with a fancy new hat. And that new hat looks really good. The one with Azumi as well. And I'm not a hat person, but it looks really cool. Considering the fact of what a great babyface Sai Kamatani is, makes no sense whatsoever. This would be two really bad booking decisions to have Queen's Quest disband and to have Sai Kamatani leave and go to a Oedo Tai. Probably the 13-year history of Stardom. Probably the two worst booking decisions. And the fact that it's not only happening in the same year, it's happening in the same match, I think would be you're finally starting to get some momentum back. The houses aren't where you want them to be. These last 3 or 4 shows, you're building momentum only to do something like this that nobody wants. Nobody wants. On the other part, do you disband parts of a Oedo Tai? if it's Momo Watanabe on the opposite end, and then she goes back to Queen's Quest, which they've teased and 90% of the fan base want to see. I think you would see a big backlash if, one, you break up Queen's Quest, you have Saya or Azumi turn heel to go to Wedo Tai. That would give you big backlash. And then you'd have huge backlash, the fact that you've teased Momo Watanabe going back to Queen's Quest. It's something that the fans want. It's something the fans are willing to pay to see. And the fact that you're not going to give that to us, I think it's a big miss. You can still, one of the original stipulations was that the faction breaks up, right? So say Queen's Quest loses, but you don't turn Saya Kamatani. You can have Saya Kamatani still the leader of Queen's Quest, because she doesn't go, and then she starts building back up Queen's Quest. Maybe you see at the end an Oedo Tai beatdown on Saya Kamatani, Azumi, Lady C, Miyu, and Hina. They need to leave, and then maybe you see a save from Starlight Kid, Mei Sarah, and Suzu Suzuki, and then after the match, you have the new Queen's Quest with Saya, Suzu, Mei, Starlight Kid. I think that'd be cool. And then maybe you see Azumi starting her own faction with Miyu, with Rian, and then maybe bringing somebody else over, to Tomoka Inaba, for example, or Zeus Inaba. That's a possibility. A lot of different ways you can go about it. I just don't see any good coming of it. I'm hoping I'm wrong, because what Stardom's been able to do by giving us the American show, by what they were able to do by having Mina Shirakawa and Azumi on AEW TV, by having this relationship with AEW that is putting Mina and Stardom in a bigger spotlight, again, in front of 700,000 people watching every week and a few thousand people in the crowd. You're doing everything with Mina on AEW. The fact that you're having Mayu wrestle over an Ice Ribbon. You're having Momo in Sendai Girls. You brought Sari in for a couple shots. Chihiro Hashimoto in for a couple shots. We have Miko Iwata, which we'll get into, coming in here. You're doing great stuff with the booking. Really. I mean, how do you defeat Rossi Ogawa? I mean, not defeat, but like, how do you go what Rossi did, one of the greatest bookers in Japanese wrestling? Not just in the Joshi scene in Japanese wrestling, just in wrestling in general. It's like, well, we got to do a couple of things different. And they have, and they've done a great job, considering the fact that the new booking regime has next to no, if not any, booking pedigree or booking experience, the word I'm looking for. So it's like, you've been doing really well. Again, the Cinderella tournament was booked really well. We got great matches outside of the Cinderella tournament in those tournaments. Really good stuff. You're having the wrestlers wrestle other companies. Again, Rana and Saya Kamatani and Catch the Wave. And they've both been doing great. You had Aya Sakura and I think Diana, and she got like 12, 13 minutes. You're getting her more experience, more reps in front of different crowds, where you're not going to be bogged down, or you're not going to be paying attention to the Tam and the Shiris and the Hazukis because they're the main eventers. So the booking committee has done really, really good and really fantastic stuff. You're getting the crowds back to, again, and Marigold started, and they were the shiny new toy. They had all the buzz, and rightfully so. And they've been home run after home run with Sari and bringing Io in, and Julia and Tommy and Yuzuki and Bozilla, who I had no idea, and Miko Ano, who I had no idea who they were before. And now they're two big stars. And it's like, well, everybody's like, we're paying attention to Marigold. So you saw the house is going down a little bit in Stardom. And you saw them this past weekend go back up. From what I understand, I think 6 of the 10 sections of the show on the 22nd, the Convergence, is sold out. So you're probably going to have a really big house. Are you going to turn them off with this? You don't have DDM anymore. Huge merch mover for obvious reasons. Julia leaving. Tekla going to a Wedo Tai, which makes sense. Micah doing her own thing as champion. And then obviously Sakurai leaving as well. Do you really disband 2 of the biggest factions, 2 of the most over factions, the most money drawing factions in Stardom history, all within the same year? To me, that doesn't make sense. Again, I don't know what they're going to do. Very much like the cage match last year. I was so nervous watching that match because I thought this was really going to break up my beloved Queen's Quest. Obviously, through Tommy leaving, Queen's Quest needs more firepower. Did they just decide, let's just break it down altogether? I don't think it makes sense. Folks, again, even from a merchandising standpoint, those standpoint, those Queen's Quest baseball jerseys, it took me 3 months to find one. They had to put them back in stock. They sold out at the venues. They sold out on the American side of merchandising and the Japanese style merchandising. I looked all over, even on eBay, Buy, even to buy one from somebody that may sell double price. Couldn't find them. The Queen's Quest jackets, the black ones that have the Queen's Quest logo on the sleeve, and the lineup that has Utami, Izumi, Sai Kamatani, Lady C, Miyu, and Hina on there. Those took forever to find. They really didn't. I finally got one in maybe about 6 weeks ago. I'm like, and it's a hoodie. I'm not going to wear it because it's a million degrees out. That tells you these ladies are selling merchandise. These factions are selling merchandise. I think it'd be, again, I'm going to leave judgment. I'm going to wait and see. I'm very much take a step back, wait and see where they go. I think, and then again, I want to make this point before I go into my next thing because I will forget. Momo Watanabe whispered something in Sai Kamatani's ear. I think we find out that what she whispered into Sai's ear was, come over to Uedo Tai, we're kicking Tora out. And it would make sense if Sai does go to Uedo Tai, which makes no sense, but would make sense for this point to Tora's lost in the shuffle. She's technically the leader, but you have Tekla, who the focus has been on for the last 2 months, and rightfully so. She's the new badass in the group. She cuts great promos. She's very physical. She can cut promos in a whole bunch of different language, has different intensity. You also have a lot of attention on Momo, and it makes sense. Momo is a top 3 or 4 worker in Stardom. She's going to overshadow everybody in that faction just by what she does. And then if you bring Sai Kamatani over, one of the biggest baby faces in the history of the company on an absolute roll, probably pegged to win the 5-star this year, and probably pegged to win the red belt sooner than later. You would have her in there. And where does Tora stand? She's almost like 4th as the leader. She's almost like 4th in line. So I just don't think this is something where you see Saya getting pinned and Saya stays in Queen's Quest. Everybody needs to go, and that's the end of it. I think you're going to see a lot of moving parts in here. Again, whether that's they kick Tora out or whether that's Crazy Star comes in and they offer their services. I see something with Starlight Kid happening here at the end of this match, or maybe she interferes. Maybe it was all the swerve, Vince Russo style, and Starlight Kid goes back to Uedo Tai, and that was the whole reasoning behind everything. That's maybe somewhere they go. That wouldn't make sense either because Starlight Kid, we want to see as a baby face. Maybe they hold off on it. I think there's a major, major angle here. And again, they made mention, once the final bell rings, nothing will ever be the same again. Where are they going? I don't know. My official prediction is I'm going with the worst case scenario outside of anybody getting hurt because you don't want that to happen. I'm going with the worst case scenario is Sai Kamatani turns heel, goes to Uedo Tai, and Queen's Quest breaks up. At least for now. They'll still have the name, or maybe you bring them back at the end of the year with Hazuki leading it. I don't know. But that's my prediction, and I'm hoping beyond hope that I am wrong. I just don't see how the Stardom booking committee can get something like this wrong. It's the way that they're building it. Nobody wants to see it. There's been so much backlash online, again, for how phenomenal the booking committee has been in the last 4 or 5 months. This is something you literally have. If you turn Sai Kamatani heel to go to Uedo Tai and put in Queen's Quest, this is something where you sit down and be like, what is the worst possible thing we can do? And let's do it. That's the way it seems to me. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I got to ask how I would book this. I wouldn't have booked this at all because it's not going to help anybody, but I would literally probably match 2 or 3, just have all these factions to come out of the back way brawling. And eventually it gets to a point where it's like you see referees getting bumped, we see officials getting bumped. Maybe maybe somebody gets color, somebody goes to a table, and literally gets to a point where we're calling off the match. Because you get to maybe this big brawl for 8-9 minutes, then maybe you bring it back after segment 5 or 6, and maybe you have one of the officials fake an injury. It looks like they're trying to break it up and they get hit with a baseball bat. Maybe somebody gets color. I don't know. And then you're like, that's it. We're not having this final chapter. And it doesn't make sense to have a final chapter match. Uedo Tai vs. Queen's Quest is always going to draw. Even though the players are different, the teams stay the same. And again, here in the States, one of the biggest rivalries in all of sports is the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. Obviously, those teams have changed the players have changed over the last 100 years. But it doesn't matter what the Red Sox records are. It doesn't matter what the Yankees record are. Whenever those two teams plays each other, Fenway Park will be sold out or close to a sellout. Yankee Stadium will be close to sellout or sellout. The networks want that game on their show because they're going to make a ton of money on watching and advertisement ads. You're literally taking two of the biggest and baddest factions, the most money-drawing factions in all of wrestling. You're going to break one of them down. Doesn't make sense. It's literally like after the Yankees dynasty in the 90s, after Jeter and all those guys retired, we'll be like, all right, we're rebuilding. We're just going to disband the New York Yankees. They're no longer a team. That makes no sense. Makes no sense. I don't know where they're going. I'm going to be nervous watching this match. I know the match is going to be good. I'm going to be on the edge of my seat. I'm hoping my official prediction is wrong, but I think we're going to see something out of left field. Like, again, maybe Momo does go to Queen's Quest. Maybe we have a double turn. Maybe they throw Tora out. Maybe we see Starlight Kid with some interference. Again, maybe we see Suzu, Maysara pledge their allegiance to the new Queen's Quest if that's where they're going. I don't know. I'm worried. Folks, I'm really, really worried. And again, me and Rob are texting each other back and forth. And again, I make mention a lot that my favorite faction is Queen's Quest. And my favorite wrestler, if I had to pick one, would be Hazuki. But my favorite thing that I want to see with all these wrestling companies, especially Stardom and Marigold, because those are my two favorite wrestling companies and what we do a podcast on, and we absolutely love doing it. What I want to see is just the company moving forward. Obviously, you bring in Io and Utami and Julia versus Shuri. That's moving Marigold forward. You're drawing tickets. You're putting eyes on the product. I just don't see the way that if they go the way I think they're going to go, that does not move the company forward at all. I just don't think it does, considering the fact of how stacked this show is and how great New Blood is going to be and how great these last few shows were. And again, the fact that these were pretty well sellouts and this show looks like it's selling really well, that I think that you may be taking a couple steps back. Hopefully they can recover from. Again, I don't know. I have a lot of trust in the Stardom booking, the new Stardom booking regime, because they've been doing really, really well. And I'm hoping beyond hope that this is the way that they say they're going, and then they're going to give us a happy ending. I think that, again, the way this lineup is, you have those last three matches finishing the show. And if they give us something really bad that we don't want, you're going to have three matches back to back to back to kind of wash the bad taste out of our mouth. Again, I don't know. Like I said, me and Rob were texting. I wish Rob was here so I can bounce this out. But again, I understand he has work purposes and stuff to do. Obviously, we'll be back next week to review this show. Me and him were kind of texting each other back and forth that I just don't see anything good coming out of this match. I just don't. Again, I'm hoping I'm wrong. Stardom, we know that you guys listen. Please give us something that the fans want. Do not give their fans a reason to backlash here, because these last three matches are going to be fantastic. If they switch and put this match up last, I'll have a little bit more faith, because I don't think that they would send the crowd home angry. We'll see what happens. We'll see if this angle plays into something that's going to happen at one of these other championship matches. I don't know. I ranted on enough about it. I've been talking about the past couple of weeks. I gave my prediction. I'm hoping I'm wrong. But we shall see. And I will try to take a step back and have more of a positive outlook. That's the way that I am. And if they do a Saya Kamatani heel turn to go to Uedo Tai and break up Queen's Quest, I will do my best to put on a positive thinking cap and kind of play a wait and see game. Yeah, okay. Let me know what you guys think about that. And yeah, that was my rant about that. And again, if Rob was here, that part could have been an hour long in itself. Folks, we go to one of our last three matches, our first big title match of this show. Wingori challenging FWC, Kagama, and Hazuki for the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championships. This is the match I'm looking forward to the most on all these cards, all this fantastic wrestling I'm watching this weekend. I predict an FWC championship retain. I think this match is going to be absolutely fantastic. This is going to be another match in the catalog of Stardom Tag Team matches of must-see. And I think Sherry's going to come out and challenge FWC for the Tag Team Championship, the Goddess Tag Team Championship, coming up probably at the July pay-per-view. Again, I hope we get one or two matches announced for the July pay-per-view by the time this show is done and over with, because then we can start planting the seeds for that July pay-per-view and then get us full swing into the 5-star Grand Prix. Co-main event, Miko Iwata taking on Saori Anu for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. I made mention when I reviewed the Hana Kimura show about a month or so ago. It looked like they were teasing some Mika Iwata in Stardom stuff, especially with Shuri. We're not getting Shuri. We're getting Soriano, just as good. This match is going to be fantastic. Soriano is an absolute roll. Miko Iwata is the Sendai Girls champion, world champion there. The first two matches, I believe Rob told me, went to a time limit draw. this one will not go to time limit draw. This will be another phenomenal match in the catalog of the Wonder of Stardom Championship and another successful title defense in the catalog that is one Soriano. I fully expect Soriano to pick up the win here and then marching on to the 5-star Grand Prix as the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Main event time, Micah and Xena. Folks, this match has been built up so well over these last few weeks, not only in the matches, not only in the backstage promos, but in the press conference they did about 2 weeks ago. The fact that two of them were smacking each other as hard as humanly possible, and you can hear the echoes. This match is going to be terrific. This is going to be a breakout performance in Xena, and you know Micah is going to do everything she can to make Xena look better than she already does. But this is going to be a Micah successful title defense, in my opinion. I think this might be one of the easier matches to call this weekend. I just don't see them taking the belt off Micah until sometime after the 5-star Grand Prix, or maybe even Dream Queendom or the anniversary show. I think Micah is doing a great job as the World of Stardom champion. I think maybe the only reason why they might even think about taking the belt off Micah in the next few months is maybe she's not drawing as well as a champion. But we'll see. We'll see what the house is on this card. I think she's having a Wrestler of the Year candidate. She's up there with, I think she's 5. I think like Ospreay's 1. I think Mayu's 2. I think Danielson is 3. I think Sari's 4. And I think Micah's 5. Micah's having a great year. Phenomenal year. And I want to see some more World of Stardom Championship defenses. Great match with Sai Kamatani. Great match with Megan Dane. Match of the Year contender, 5 stars in my opinion. She had with Utami Hayashishita. I think her and Xena are going to absolutely blow it out of the water here. I think these two are going to hit each other hard. I think there's going to be some big, big bumps here. I think you're going to see some phenomenal psychology and storytelling. I think it's going to be Micah with the hammerlock Michinoku driver that's going to get her successful title defense. Then afterwards, I think, I teased it before, I'm going to tell you what my thoughts are. I think afterwards, Tomoka Inaba is going to come out. She is going to challenge Micah. We know that for the World of Stardom Championship. We know they have that match in Cork and Hall at the JTO anniversary show. Obviously, Tomoka Inaba was the queen of JTO champion for quite some time. Micah was trained. They're both trained in JTO by one Taka Michinoku. I think Micah, she did say when her and Tomoka Inaba would be main eventing that show at Cork and Hall, that she would like it to be for the World of Stardom Championship. I think you have Tomoka Inaba at New Blood. You have her on this pay-per-view, give her 2 wins back to back. And I think you have her come out and challenge and say, let's make the match for the World of Stardom Championship. I think that would be great. Who does not want to see Tomoka Inaba and Micah for the World of Stardom Championship? And again, this will just basically branch out, giving JTO not only Micah, not only the World of Stardom champion Micah, but a World of Stardom Championship match in Cork and Hall for the anniversary show. It's only going to draw more on YouTube, more views, and more ticket sales. And I think that's a good way to help JTO out. And hopefully in return, we get some more Inaba sisters in Stardom. Folks, that's going to wrap it up. I hope you all enjoyed this show. And again, apologies that this was just the one-man show, considering the fact that I was able to do this in over 100 minutes. Again, to the folks that like the 2-hour episodes, did not get there. I did not get there. And sometimes it's tough to talk about wrestling by yourself for 2 hours. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this one holds you over enough until next week. But if you did miss myself and Rob bantering back and forth about all things Joshi, we recorded for about an hour and a half on the Marigold Standard. That episode is in all your feeds right now. So again, I hope everybody enjoys the shows this weekend. If you're watching Bloodsport, let me know, because again, I'll be covering the Konami match for next week's show, and as well, I'm watching the rest of the show. I will more than likely watch not the New Blood show live because I worked that day, but I'll be watching the Convergence. Might be the last time I say that out loud. I'll be watching that show live, not unless something crazy happens. More than likely, I will be watching that show live as it happens. So I will be live tweeting my thoughts on Twitter like I do for each and every Stardom show. So if you're up watching that show, obviously join me. You can obviously hit me up. You can respond to what I'm saying or hit me up in the DMs. Folks, guys know how to get a hold of me. Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and or the Twitter is the best way to get a hold of me. You want to shoot me an email, that's perfectly fine as well. The StardomCast22@gmail.com is the best way to get a hold of me via the email system. Folks, that's going to wrap it up. Again, apologies for just the one-man show. I hope you all enjoyed it. And again, give me your thoughts on what you think is going to happen on that final showdown with Oedo Tai and Queen's Quest. It did have a lot of people, more people than a lot of people are going up against what I'm saying, which again, I'm hoping I'm wrong. A lot of people thinking that it's going to be Queen's Quest that comes out on top in this match, and Momo is going to be going over to Queen's Quest, or Starlight Kid comes in and helps Queen's Quest get the win. So a lot of people, if I had 20 people tweet me what they thought, I'd probably 10 or 12 told me they thought Queen's Quest is going to get the win. So I'm hoping you're right. I'm hoping I'm wrong. We shall see. Again, folks, thanks for bearing with me on the solo episode. I hope everybody enjoys the shows this weekend. Again, hope everybody's staying hydrated and cool in this extreme heat that we're having. Please be safe out there. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up for the show. And obviously, if you want to get a hold of myself, Rob is at Real Rob Goodwin on Twitter. It's the best way to get a hold of him. You can also message, if you want to message me and him, we do share the Stardom Cast Twitter page. So you can always mention the Stardom Cast on Twitter. I know some people were trying to get a hold of me for sponsorship stuff on Instagram. Some of that stuff I don't see. The best way is you just either shoot me an email on the StardomCast22, the StardomCast22 at gmail.com, or DM me at Matt Turner, or DM the Stardom Cast on Twitter. That's the best way to get a hold of me if you want, talk about anything or any sponsorship stuff. So, folks, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. I hope everybody has a great day. Enjoy wrestling. Enjoy your week, your weekend. Stay safe out there. Greatly appreciate your support. Can't do it without you because, like I always say, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast because when all together, everybody's different. Everybody's special.